Hey, it's Lonita Cook for BlackBeeBuzz.com, and I am here with Toya J. She is the author of brand new, hot off the presses book of poems, sexy book of poems, Tease. Hey, Toya J.
Hi, good evening. How are you doing?
I am wonderful. How are you doing?
I am awesome. It was a beautiful day. The sun was out. I'm such an island girl. So when the sun is out, it just like adds to my flavor.
Flavor, girl, you got a lot of flavor. Yes, you do. So I got the chance to read Tease. It is such a great book of poems. But before we get into the content of Tease, I want to know, how did you come to publish such a great book?
So again, it's my experience, right? And after getting in touch with my own sexuality and gaining that confidence and recognizing that I deserve to have the best sex ever, right? And what did that look like? And I think it started with me like doing that internal work and understanding who I was as a woman, exploring the intimate self. That's how I got to this point of just like, you know what? Let me just be bold. Let me be myself. And it's also a chance to help other women to recognize that this is important. You deserve to have great sex. But how do you get to that point? Understanding self.
Ooh, great sex. I think everybody's going to want to love to read this. I got to ask, why did you choose to utilize poetry rather than prose in presenting your philosophy on great sex?
So I am a poet by heart. And this started from in 2017 when I was at my darkest moment. And writing is actually my safe space. And I decided to start writing, and it came out in the form of poetry. So I have gotten to the point where I learned to trust the process and not deviate from that. And that's how I end up writing poetry instead of prose.
Wow. So you said you were at your darkest hour. What does that mean? That, like, are you saying that there was something grand that was happening in your life? Or are you saying that like it was the worst sex and you were trying to get to the best sex?
No, we didn't get to that point. So I am actually a social worker, and I got injured on the job back in 2017. And for a woman who was so independent, I was always on the go. I was like such an active woman. And this incident like literally humbled me to the point where I was now dependent on others to take care of me. So it put me in a place where I got so depressed because I could not understand how is it that one day I was just like flourishing and I was at my peak. And then the next day I'm at my worst. So it was such a humbling moment for me. And it really, looking back, it was the best thing that could have ever happened to me.
Okay, so it sounds like you have layers. And before I ask you my next question, can you clarify, how is the worst thing that happened to you the best thing that happened to you?
That's from my spiritual background, right? And I think it's also my journey and understanding who I was as an individual and recognizing that sometimes God, I like to say, he is such a mischievous and a mysterious God. He interjects. And sometimes when we think we know what it is that we want, God is saying, no, you're not ready for that yet. So he has to pull us back. And this is why I say it's a humbling moment for me. It was a defining moment to like really, it was a reality check. It was really a reality check to recognize that we ought to be grateful every single day that we are alive for everything that we have and stop complaining and make the best. And going back to your question is asking me why I think it was the best thing. The worst thing translates to the best thing. Life is all about lessons, and we have to be able to understand and be able to relate and recognize when there are lessons, because our lessons are our blessing, and that's what happened.
You know what? I have to be honest with you. When I read Tease, I could feel all of that. I could feel that island flavor. I can feel that you got those layers. And now here we are about to release the book this Saturday, April 17th. You are having your book release launch party. What can we expect?
So expect sexy. Expect open conversation, expect the word sex, vagina, penis, orgasm, fantasy, because my goal with this is to help others to recognize it's okay. It is okay. You know, the topic sex in itself, it's such a taboo. And coming from my culture where that's not something that we talk about, right? That's a whole different conversation altogether. We don't talk about it. We don't embrace it. And we live in such a society that's oversexed, but people are talking around sex. So that's my goal. I'm also going to have like a panelist mixed with men and women. And we're going to have those courageous conversations about sex, about what it is, about stimulation and what works for them. And I'm tapping into married couples and single people because I want to get a variety, to get a sense to see where people are at, because it's about educating and really understand. I think it's such an ignorance for some people where sex is concerned. And I believe sex is so sacred, it's spiritual, it is such a connection that you have with an individual. We ought to be mindful. I like to say, in looking back, I had no reason taking off my clothes when I did sometime. But again, that's the process that you actually go through. So Saturday is going to be filled with a lot of energy. It's going to be intimate. It's going to be really sexy. And overall, it's about educating and helping others to feel comfortable. I'm hoping by the end of the book launch, people will feel a lot more comfortable, and the event will be streamed on all major platforms. It will be on YouTube, Facebook, as well as Instagram.
Woo! So that's what I was going to say. I can totally relate to having taken my clothes off at some times when I know I shouldn't have. And I did. And I felt so many things and became different in so many ways. So I really appreciate what you're doing. And so this is happening in New York City, right?
Yes, in New York City.
But if we are not there and can't attend in person, we can access it on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all the places.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's the new day and age. And again, that's going back to us, like being able to adjust, right? So, you know, I want everyone to be a part of this. Like, it's an initiative for me. It's actually a movement. It's a bold movement. And I'm really hoping that I'll get people hooked so that people want more.
Wow. Toya J, thank you so much. I cannot wait to be there on Saturday. And these people really need to check out this book. Where can we get the book?
So the book will be released on Amazon, all major platforms right now for pre-orders. Feel free to reach out to me on my website, www.bboldtoya.com.
So that's www.bboldtoya.com. Awesome. I will see you soon for your book launch. Thank you so much, Toya.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
That victory belongs to me.